welcome everyone. We'll do some introductions in a moment. Hopefully you would have met Holly if you held the sign in the courtyard. Holly is one of our final year students. So
that's all good. I missed you. I didn't see you walking past.
She was hidden.
I didn't need to be.
So I think alongside you guys, we've also got some people who are logging on online and sort of chatting. So we're kind of building in some interactive bits that can hopefully capture some of those audiences as well. So I'm Eliza. I'm one of the lecturers. There'll be a slide on this in a moment, so I won't get too far ahead of myself. And
yes, and I'm Mary, and we met, except I haven't met you.
I'm Sean.
So do we want to quickly just whip round and do names? So what's your
My
name?
name is Mariam.
Mariam.
Sean. Jack.
Jack. Poppy. Nice. Excellent. So nice little group. There are more. There are more of you who you'll meet next week. Actually, I think you've got my class first and then Mariam's, but you'll meet them next week in week 1. So today's session, we just want to kind of welcome you to the course, give you some information. It is fairly informal, so it's just chill. And Holly's here to provide the student perspective, because again, it's been a while since we were studying. So things change, just a little bit. So we just kind of want to go through some things, see if you've got any questions, make sure you're all ready and prepped and happy to go for week 1. Cool. So I did kind of want to start this session with a bit of a acknowledgement of country. If you were in the courtyard, you would have seen the wonderful Welcome to Country by Uncle Mickey. I can't do as good as that, but what I can do is just acknowledge that we are on this beautiful site, and it is our definite privilege to come and gather on this site and sort of share our knowledges and, you know, create our community in this space as well. So definitely kind of acknowledging, come in. Do you want to come sit in the front, be part of the party?
So who has joined us?
Isabella.
Nice.
So we've just started, so don't worry. So just sort of moving on, I thought I'd start with the faces of the tourism and events team to begin with. So the only one who's not here is Gareth. He's actually teaching some intensives at the moment. Yesterday. Holly's in his class right now. And you'll hopefully meet him before he goes on long service leave. But he won't be here for a lot of this first semester, but you'll meet him along the way. Yeah, so we'll let him introduce himself then. So I'm Eliza. I teach a couple of the first year topics. You'll see me a lot in first year, I'm afraid. Bit in second year and a little bit in third year as well. But yeah, so I actually really started to think about this. I started my undergraduate exactly 20 years ago now. So 20 years ago, I was in your space, kind of being the newbie, kind of going, what is going on? So lots happened since then. So I'm sure as we go along, you'll hear some of my stories and other bits and pieces, and I'll get to hear from you guys as well about some of your experiences. And Mary, do you want to do a little bit?
I don't want to tell you when I finish studying. That just makes me a bit old, which I don't feel at all. Yes, Mary and Rick, I'm looking at that picture and I'm thinking, oh God, we should put another one up there. But anyway, you know who I
Send me
am.
an update.
And I'll see you next week, right at the start. Tourism and events portfolio. And I will do a lot of stuff with you where we get to know each other.
Yeah. So that's kind of who we are. So we want to know a little bit about who you guys are as well. So I do have just a quick little poll that you can scan in this QR code and do it, and then we'll have a bit of a chat through it as well. But it's just making sure that we're capturing any of those people that might be joining us online as well. Duck, Holly, duck. Okay. And I can come around here and have a look at what you're inputting as well, which is always good, because it's nice to know where others are coming from too. A bit of changing as we're going along. Sorry, can you still scan that QR code? It's a little bit tiny now, it's up in the corner. Sorry, no rush, we've got time. It's fine. Okay, we all had a chance to? Excellent. So let's just go around. So who's coming to us from secondary school? Yeah? So just finished year 12 last year?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Which schools?
Sorry, Grove College.
Okay.
I was in the same.
Mercedes. Excellent. And who's transferred from another degree? Yeah, so what were you doing before?
I was doing, excuse me, sorry, I was doing sport, health and physical activity,
Oh, okay.
and I was really stuck between doing this course or doing that course.
Yeah.
I chose to do that one. I realised halfway through I should have chosen to do this one.
Because we actually used to have quite a lot of your cohort sort of come into our tourism topics as well.
Really?
I think they stopped that about a year or so ago. So welcome. We're always happy to talk sports and stuff like that, as well as kind of our tourism and events sort of stuff. So yeah, excellent. And how about you, Poppy?
So I've been doing a traineeship for the last 12 months at a visitor centre. So I'm from Victoria.
Oh,
so
right.
I've been doing that in Victoria, so then I'm here for something else.
Nice. So you've moved here. Are you on campus,
No,
staying
I've
in the
actually
village?
got a shared house.
Nice.
So,
Excellent. Nice. And how about you, Mary?
So I've been working for a year and
Yeah. Being out there in the real world.
so I've been working for
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
Any samples?
Still
Bring
connection.
this way.
Still connection. I'll put my hand up next to you. Pretty cute.
Hex is wonderful. Great essay institution. Yeah, always good to kind of hype up those big essay brands. So, oh, cool. Excellent. So most of you are kind of, apart from you probably, locals or kind of been in Adelaide for a while. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
moved here from Alice Springs about 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
lived there for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
That was long enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I moved down here to study, try to get better qualifications and things like that.
Yeah, nice change. Yeah. Adelaide's not a bad place to live. I mean, I grew up here, did my undergraduate degree here and a lot of studies, but then at the end of that I was like, time to go away. But I came back in the end, so you don't realise sometimes how nice it is in this location until you go further afield and it's cold. And then you're like, no. Okay.
And somebody from TAFE.
Yes. Oh, okay. Perfect. So that might be the person we have online. Hello, TAFE person online. So you guys will get to know each other as we go along throughout the semester and throughout the years. Hopefully that doesn't sound too daunting, like the years that you've signed up for here. But it's quite nice. We kind of have quite nice little cohorts and everything, don't we, Holly?
Yeah, it goes quickly also. You'll be very surprised how fast you get to halfway through your degree and you're like, oh, okay, I have to start making decisions about like placements. So it goes quickly.
Definitely. I should look at that one. So it's good to know kind of where we're coming from, because we're all a little bit different, but just going back to here. What we kind of want to highlight as well, that in doing that little recap of kind of where we're coming from and everything like that, is that everyone's a little bit different. No one's exactly on the same path. And you may find there are different areas of the tourism and events industry that you may not have even realised are there, or this is kind of part of that sort of journey that you're on to really discover which way you want to go. Whether it's tourism, events, various different pathways, test it all out. It's a really kind of good opportunity to just kind of explore different areas, gather as much knowledge as you can. As you probably heard from our Dean of Education, we're quite a diverse college, so we've got lots of different areas, and our degree definitely makes the most of that. So we do a bit of graphic design, so that sort of real creative kind of side of things that's really useful. We have Indigenous studies that you can sort of pull in, because again, that sort of knowledge is a really crucial thing, like Indigenous tourism. we need to be thinking about that a lot more than we have previously. So this is kind of just the starting point, really. So it's kind of exciting. I find it exciting at this point when you're coming along and sort of starting this journey yourselves. However, I know that it can also be quite daunting, that there's a lot of new stuff, new systems, new ways of doing things. Don't panic is my main advice. Don't panic. Everything will come slowly. We're not expecting you to know absolutely everything straight away. That's why this is kind of a learning experience. The whole 3 years, Holly's still learning stuff. She doesn't know it yet. Sorry, Holly. She's just close. But yeah, you're getting there, and everything is kind of that sort of learning experience, and just make the most of it. Don't be afraid to ask if you don't know anything. If you just need a point in the right direction for things, always happy to help. Another bit of advice I would sort of share with you is, again, just to focus on what you're doing. Don't compare yourself. It's about running your own race, if I can use that sort of sports metaphor. Running your own race, focusing on what you're interested in. So again, everyone's different. Everyone has their strengths, weaknesses, different passions, different interests. And that's hopefully what we're going to unfold over the next 3 years. So use this opportunity to kind of discover, to explore, figure out what your passions are if you're not sure. At your age, I didn't know what my passion was, other than I love travel, I love events. I was like, yay, let's do something there. So yeah, you never know. You discover things as you go along. But also use this opportunity to make connections. So within your classes, within the older cohorts as well, we're hoping to get, well actually we are getting a mentoring system. Holly is one of our mentors. Going to get that up and running this first semester. So you'll be buddied with a third year student, possibly Holly. Yeah. And we'll just kind of have some fairly casual sessions, about 3 or 4 times throughout this first semester. So you get a chance to sort of ask questions and, yeah, pick Holly's brains, or Shannon maybe as well. Yeah, and it's just a nice way to get to know one another as well, in a bit more of an informal kind of space too. And of course there's clubs, associations. I'm sure if you wander down to the hub later, you'll find all of those things as well. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit around some of the different experiences you might have at uni, because it is a bit different from school. We have different timetabled sessions, and you're probably wondering, what's the difference between some of these? So some of them we have labelled as a lecture. So essentially it's all of the cohort together. So everyone who's doing that topic is there together, and we're running through some materials. We try and make that as interactive as possible, so it's not just talking at you. But then we have seminars. So seminars are generally our sessions where we have smaller groups. So they are really designed to be quite interactive. So we'll set activities, we'll go through things in those classes. It's often where we'll talk about assessments and things like that as well. There can be variations in online, face-to-face. I don't think I have to tell you about the whole online movement and how that kind of happened. I think none of our tourism topics are going to be online. They are just purely face-to-face for first years. But some of the other topics that you might have as option topics, for example, may be online. So just sort of bear that in mind. There are still, good quality materials. It's just a different way of doing things. What's that? There we go. So the other thing I wanted to point out is around the different staff you might come across. So again, there's academics that you'll see in the classroom space, but there's a whole bunch of professional staff that make the cogs turn in the university. Without them, we're nothing. So they're really helpful people. We have one of our enrolment advisors who's going to pop into the session as well today. You'll see her name's Jo. She's the font of all knowledge when it comes to enrolments. Even we go to her and go, Jo, what do we do here? So really helpful. I think, have you met Joe?
I've met Joe.
You've met Joe?
I haven't utilised Joe's knowledge, but I've met Joe.
Yeah, but she's very helpful. And you also kind of connect with your peers, your wider cohort, and also we've got lots of support services. So I'll talk about some of those towards the end. So don't worry just yet. We're also trying not to bombard you with too much information. So don't worry, there'll be reminders of some of these things as we go through the semester as well. So I'm quite mindful of that. So what we wanted to do, first of all, is just make sure you've got some of the starting points of where you should be at this point in time at O-Week. So this is what your first year should look like. So is anyone doing a combined degree? Which?
Business.
Business? Okay. So yours might look a little bit different.
Yeah.
Have you been sent a study plan or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect, awesome. So you know how yours would vary a little bit?
Yeah.
Perfect. So essentially I think you'd still be doing Introduction to Tourism Studies and Tourism Events Portfolio in first semester. So you'll see both of us, that's fine. And then you'll do your 2 business topics as well. Yeah. So for everyone else, these are what your sort of first and second semesters would look like. So you've got those 4 across the top for first semester. Hopefully you've selected an elective or an option topic to fill in that sort of gap just over here. Which one of these did you do, Holly?
I did the essential multimedia, which is like Photoshop and graphic design type things, and it leads really well into the second multimedia core topic. It's a great fundamentals. There are people who are like really, really good, and then there was like me, who could barely cut out a photo, but the lecturer was very supportive of that. But it's good just to do basic skills and stuff with Photoshop. You can do a lot with it, so I recommend it. It's quite an interesting topic.
And Photoshop is available for you guys from university.
So which, if I can ask, which ones have we signed up for so far? The multimedia one? Same?
I think I'm doing environment and society.
Okay.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it is a good one as well,
Katie's
isn't it?
the lecturer would still probably be Katie Caroline. Yeah,
For multimedia.
multimedia, yeah. She's hilarious. She's from Seattle. She's great.
And I believe for environment and society it will be Gertie. And again, that sort of feeds quite nicely into a second year sort of topic. So no matter which way you kind of go, there's always kind of nice connections. So yeah. How about you, Poppy? Which one?
Pretty sure also it's essential.
Yep. Yeah.
And don't forget, you still have the second semester, so you can still pick whatever
Exactly.
you have that takes your fancy. You can do that in the second
Yeah. So I've just sort of popped them into where they're available as well. So you can see there are some that are available in a couple of different semesters, like Essential Multimedia, but then you've got some additional sort of choices in second semester as well. So you've got Indigenous Studies, for example, which is a different one there as well. I think digital and social media has just been revamped a little bit. So again, we've got someone new in to teach that one. And yeah, second semester, you've got sort of 2 core tourism and events topics. Accounting, now I know everyone kind of does the inward side, or sometimes outward, isn't it? Side when it comes to accounting. Helpful?
Helpful, horrific. Get through it, it's fine. It's a lot of information very quickly with that topic because there's so many different things. But it's a really engaging topic because it shows you like balance sheets costs coming in and out. It helps really good for budgeting, which works really well for stuff that you do in Marion's topic with the intro to events topic. So it does cross over quite well. But again, I won't lie, it is a bit of a tough topic.
But again, there's a rationale behind it. There's, again, things that we kind of want to have from that topic that make it really quite useful. Yeah,
I always
absolutely.
hated numbers and I pushed myself to it. And at the end, I always say, and I did actually teach finance, from somebody that has no clue to then actually start to teach. You just gotta love the numbers because they don't bite and it's not hard. You just gotta open up yourself and say it's all happening.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of read.
Holly?
Yeah, that's fair. It's just accept it and try your best.
Yeah. I kind of reposition it in my mind and think about it as the organisation of numbers. So it's not maths, because that's not my strong point either. So this is just the overarching kind of study plan. Now you've got separate ones, so I won't give one to you because I don't want to confuse things. But this is kind of just having a look throughout the rest of your years. I won't go through that though, because that's future use problem. So I like to say, good timing. Come in, Joe. Come in. We're just literally kind of talking about enrolment sort of stuff. Do you want to pull up a chair? Sure. Pull up a chair.
Not staying long.
Okay, no worries. I know you've got lots of sessions to pop to. So this is Joe. I'll let you.
Yeah,
do a little
sure. My
spiel.
name's Jo Willis. I'm an enrolment course advisor, and you can find me in the Humanities building in the college front office. You can ask me, which is normal business hours. You can pop in. I might be free, or you can pop in and make an appointment. Or you can also submit and ask Flinders requests, which you might have seen a slide about. That's always easy because sometimes these thoughts come to your 10 o'clock at night, so you can submit a request and following this stay will see your request and we'll start working our way through it. Questions can be anything. Maybe you're wanting to start part-time, so you're not sure what topics or subjects you should choose. Maybe you can transferred over from another degree, and maybe you think maybe you can get credit. Maybe you want to go on an exchange. All sorts of questions. Maybe you want to explore a different option or elective topic that you're very passionate about. We would like you to explore that further, so you can ask if that's okay. All those sorts of questions. You're not sure, basically just ask. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can be a bit sort of flexible in the degree plan. As much as I hand you that, there is some flexibility in that. It's not set in stone.
Is anybody in a combined degree?
Yeah.
Oh, what did you combine?
Business.
Okay, cool. So has someone given you a study plan? Awesome, excellent. Have you going to ask members or ask any questions or anything? Okay, all right. Make sure you do.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. What was your name?
Jack.
Okay. I'll keep an eye out for you. It's a little bit tricky to find degrees.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Excellent. Thanks, Joe. But
Nice to meet you all.
more just putting a face to a name that there is someone. It's a person behind all the Ask Flinders request stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Nice to
Thanks,
see
Joe.
you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So sometimes nice knowing that, because a lot of our systems you can put in like an Ask Flinders request. Sometimes you don't actually know where that goes to. But it's real people, real things happening behind the scenes, and you can go and speak to Joe in face to face as well. So it's not all having to be on computer, that sort of thing. Cool. So kind of flowing on from that discussion around enrolments is just making sure that you are enrolled in all of those topics. So you've selected the topics, but you've also registered for classes. So you'll notice for Introduction to Tourism Studies, there'll be an option for seminar. So making sure you've selected that as well as the lecture. So it just makes sure everything's kind of selected and everything's all set and ready to go. And then I'll know who's in which seminar and everything like that. So that's just brief information. So again, I thought we'd throw it out to the room and just kind of see how you're feeling right now, what's going on in your head, and see if you have any particular questions or concerns. I have chosen to do this again through just an online tool, because sometimes it's easier to write the questions. It's anonymous. You can write whatever questions and then we can sort of just unpack some of that information. Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes. Don't forget to add to the excited bit as well, because there are some exciting things going to happen. So have a few minutes. Again, sort of scan in that QR code and you can add, I've got one sort of section for each, the questions and concerns and the excited bit, so just add to each of those kind of areas. And we'll hear some about yours as well, Holly, from when you started.
Okay.
Brainstorm. Okay. Let me scan that in first. Okay, a lot more excitement than concerns, which is lovely. Or is it maybe that you don't know what the concerns may be at this point, which is absolutely fine. It's good that you're not starting with concerns too much. So yeah, good to see that we're all kind of excited about that sort of new stage of life, getting to know some more people, learning more about the tourism and events industries. Because definitely we'll be talking a lot about that. We'll unpack a lot of things. And again, there's lots of opportunities in our topics and also some of the other option topics and other core topics to get to know people within your degree, but also from other areas of the college or university as well. I think even Introduction to Tourism Studies, we've got some people studying from the other side of the lake. So doing animal behaviour, marine biology as well. So we've got a whole wild mash of people, which is nice. And I can see one concern, getting back into the swing of studying, which again, if you haven't been studying for a little while, can take a little while to kind of refocus and, come out of the work kind of mindset. And it can be a challenge, I would say, to try and balance some of the studying with perhaps work or other life sort of commitments as well. But I think we'll do some activities, like you'll probably do activities next week in tourism events portfolio around some of that as well. So yeah, so good to see there's not huge amounts of concerns at this point. And Holly, what were some of the things you were concerned / excited about?
Well, the only real concern that I had is I started the degree in 2022, so just coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
And it was like, have I really made a smart decision choosing a degree in a field which is really, really struggling currently?
It's much better now.
It is a lot better now. So that was my biggest concern. Is like, I think I was sitting in my first class and we were talking about COVID. We were still in masks and everything, and like one of the rooms over there, and I was like, oh no, what have I done? That quickly went away. Excited, similar thing, meeting new people, and yeah, I had best piece of advice: don't sit at the back. Just plonk yourself anywhere. Sit with people even if you don't know them, because that's the fastest way you'll be able to interact with other people, because otherwise people think you're going to be left alone if you sit in the back. But yeah, just try and keep to the middle or the front, and people are all thinking the same thing when you walk into a room. Everyone's stressing about not knowing anyone, so I wouldn't stress too much about that.
Yeah, I think that's a very good advice. Yeah. And we'll be very much encouraging interaction, won't we? So don't worry. Okay. Okay. So aside from some of the sort of course specifics and enrolments and things like that, we just kind of wanted to run through some of the essential things. So this is just some things to be thinking about at this point. Again, trying not to overwhelm you too much about all the different services and support things, because we will be mentioning them again. This is not the only time that would be mentioned. So don't worry.
And I might just say here, because we all have online platforms for each topic, and as you go into the topic, you will find all the information, the handouts that we have in class. It's all uploaded as well. And there's also whatever you go on, I can't remember what support service, there are also links on there that get you back to the support services. So there's another way of finding it. So it's not lost.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the first things, Wi-Fi. Because as you can see from this session, there are things that will get you to do, like on your devices and things like that throughout. And plus, you don't want to be using your data, use the university's data. So if you haven't done so already, there's quite simple instructions to go on to EduRoam, which is the university's Wi-Fi system. And that way it will just connect you every time you step onto campus. There is also, I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, there's a section of the university's website which is called Compass, and they have a new students section which does sort of run through some of the information like enrolments, but also other stuff that's quite useful for the new students. So again, that's kind of a good go-to point. It's also got Ask Windows, no, it's not Ask Flinders, but Flinders Connect on there as well.
Ask Flinders is on the home.
Ask
screen.
Flinders on, yeah, home screen of Okta.
Yeah.
Again, there's so many, like, there's help in all sorts of directions, whether it's on Okta, Compass, our flow sites. You kind of get bombarded a little bit by it, but in a nice way. But it's all kind of there. I think, who's got an ID card yet? Okay, something to get. It's very useful.
It is very useful.
So, for example, getting discounted transport. I don't know, what else?
Library access.
Yes, library access. So the library you can actually access for 24 hours. So you can, 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, if you feel like going to the library, you can. If you really are that kind of party animal. But you need to request access. So make sure you do that. I think that's just, is it Ask Flinders or is it?
No, it's the other one. It's the
Service one.
Service one. It's not
Service
hard.
one.
It's the central library, and you can just set it to be 24/7 access. The library is pretty much the fastest one that they turn around for accesses to your cards. It just means because it locks at business hours. I think it's like 6 o'clock. I think at 5:30ish it locks. So if you don't have your card or it doesn't have that access, you can't get back in. You just hope someone's sitting, typically me, actually near the door, and you can be let back in. But it just makes it, yeah, it's fine. You can get yourself back in and out. It's pretty easy. For example, around if you need help to raise that request, I recommend it. And you can set it to the finalisation date for the end of your degree, so you don't have to think about it for the next couple of years. Or you just set it each year and just go and do a new one each year, which is really useful.
Yeah. So I do suggest try and get your ID card sorted. You can order it online, or you can simply walk down to Flinders Connect,
Which I'll show you.
and they'll, yeah, Holly will take you down there in a bit. Because yeah, really helpful to have that. Just, I think you reminded me about stickers each year.
Yeah, so one of the things, one of the things with your ID card is each year it's like has an expiry date, but you don't get a new card each year. What that you do is you go down to Flinders Connect, which is where I'll show you, and they will check your name, they'll check the number, they'll check your name and go, okay, you're full time, and they'll give you a full time sticker, and that renews your card, so you don't have to get a new one. If you don't have the new sticker in the card, it causes problems. You can't get those discounts. It won't work when you go to do like the library access. So it's something that I only found out thankfully. So my brother goes here and he reminded me. But it's, yeah, you don't really have to think about it until the new year, and they're usually pretty flexible for the first couple of weeks. But then it's kind of good to have. It's recommended.
Yeah. And it's also good for printing as well. So you do need your card for printing. So multiple reasons to have your card. So try and get that sorted. So we just kind of want to cover, you know, some things to think about for the first few weeks. Again, we're not going to go too far in advance because that's just not where our heads are at right now. So you've done the right thing already by coming here, attending orientation sessions. There are lots of other orientation sessions that are happening that are run by the university, things like how to access your flow pages, other really useful sessions that are run by our Student Learning Support Service as well. So do check it out, have a look at the orientation planner and see what else you can find. We've gone through a couple of those as well. ID card, check enrolments. Another thing we do suggest, this was probably more of a point from COVID times, but checking out that you've got the right sort of devices set up. Again, if you do have any online sort of classes, have you got secure or, you know, consistent internet at home? If not, hop here and do it. These are always quite good. Get familiar with Flow. So Flinders Learning Online is Flow. And you might hear lecturers refer to either Flow or Canvas. And that's pretty much because we had a switch over of our learning management system last year. Don't worry about it, they're referring to the same thing. You guys don't have to think about that.
It's actually in brackets still.
Yeah, I think it
So
is in brackets.
when you log on, you can see that it says flow, and then in brackets it says what the original name is. It is the same thing.
Yeah. We just kind of give it our own Flinders name, so Flow. So you'll be able to access all of the Flow sites for your topics. So if you pop onto there now, you'll be able to see Mary's topic, my topic, any of the other ones you're enrolled in as well. Has anyone tried that yet?
My I still got my old last year's ones.
And mine only just
okay.
got taken off from last year.
Yeah.
And I kept accidentally looking at the wrong ones. Literally only like a week ago they take them off. They will
Yeah.
eventually disappear.
Okay.
Because you would have got access yesterday. So it's only just recent that you would have got access to this semester's worth of topics. So have a look again. Again, we'll check with you guys next week. So don't worry.
Well,
if you
have a
haven't
look
got it.
because you got to prepare something for me for next
Ah,
week.
oh, there you go.
I'll send another reminder out, but go on there and prepare. It doesn't take long.
That's a good point. Okay, so I think, in fact, there you go. That's a little bit of info about Flinders Learning Online. So again, there's quite an easy way to access it. You can access it through Okta. So that's kind of the main sort of screen page which has all these little icons and stuff. So Flow will be one of those. Or you can
I would
access it
recommend
separately.
you get used to logging into Okta.
Yeah.
Because everything is then on there and you don't have to muck around. If you want your email or if you want to go on Flow or if you want to have a request or something, go log on to Okta and then that's all there. And then it makes your life much easier.
Yeah. So that's Okta. Again, there are some sessions around intro to Flow and textbooks and things like that that the university is running. And I believe they're running them all pretty much all through this week.
I'd
So
also say
have
don't
a look.
stress too much about textbooks.
No.
Because pretty much the Marion and Eliza Matter put links to them if they're online. Most of the libraries are pretty good, most of them are online.
Yeah.
And most topics have now kind of transferred to having just like online copies which you can access. It's pretty rare. So if you get stressed thinking your topic like textbook only, don't stress. There is also a way to search it, but yeah, don't stress about it.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think we've moved on a lot from just having one solid textbook.
Yeah.
It's kind of, we just pull together a bunch of different resources a lot of the time that are just online. So it saves yourself, you know, a good $400 in textbooks really.
Actually, I tell a lie, there is one.
Is
Counting
there?
will have one.
Oh,
Which it's an online one. You get it for like a cheap. It's like $30 or something, if I remember correctly. But they'll tell you which one it is and how to get it. It's the only one I think I had an actual textbook for. It was recommended, which I do recommend. It makes it a bit easier.
I have to say with accounting, it's easier than focusing.
Yeah.
Not an easy, with the numbers and
okay. What are we? So week one. So next week is week one already. It's come by very quickly. So next week, again, come to classes, and again, we'll have a little bit of a show around where some of your key classes might be, or will be actually. So Holly's going to do a little bit of a tour once we're done in here, and kind of show you where those spaces are if you haven't done that already. So have a look at where your classes are, get familiar with it. Generally, in a lot of these classes, they're quite busy during semester, so you might not be able to get in until literally right on the time that it says in your timetable. We do aim to finish 10 minutes to the hour, so it does allow a little bit of time for previous class to come out and then you guys to come in. So supposedly, not everyone adheres to that rule, but it's meant to happen. So don't worry if you stood outside a room at exactly 9 o'clock or something. If I see you out there, I'll just go, come in if I'm ready. And if there's no classes in there.
Most doors are unlocked too. Always
Yeah.
check the door is unlocked because there has been many times where the entire class is standing out in front and the lecturer comes along standing there and you try and the door's unlocked or it's empty. So check the door if you can't hear people in there.
And it is a bit awkward because some doors are solid doors, so you're like trying to listen in, like, is there anyone in there? But it's fine. We're used to having people in doors. It's cool. So yeah, just get familiar with the campus. There are Connect Week events. So Connect Week is kind of a prolonged part of orientation. There's a couple of other kind of weeks during the first semester. So next week is Connect Week, where there'll be different associations and clubs down in the hub. There'll be lots of different things going on. And then week 4 is now Success Week. So again, looking at some of the academic skills and all those sorts of things that will help you in your studies. And then I believe week 8 is Wellbeing Week. So again, lots of different activities to kind of help you guys look after yourselves as well. So there is an app for trying to get around campus, Lost on Campus. It is an app that's kind of across different universities, so you will need to select Flinders University. Some of the pictures, I would say, of the room.
It's useful to give you a rough idea of where you need to go. However, as I briefly mentioned to a couple of the guys as we were walking, is every door looks the same, and every photo of each door is literally just the door with nothing around it. So
Yeah.
it works for the most part if you're really, really lost. But don't worry, you probably walk into other people looking very, very lost for the same road. It is useful though. I learned to use it like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. But you can always ask people. Stop people as you're going past. I am always quite mindful, especially week 1, if anyone looks remotely lost, be like, are you okay? Direct them on their way. But yeah, it can be quite a useful tool. But again, Holly will show you around to some of the key rooms that you'll be going to. Week 2, I know at this point it seems a long way away, but week 2 is when we start doing more of the seminars. So some sessions, so for some topics we start with the lecture in week 1. So for instance, Introduction to Tourism Studies, we start with the lecture in week 1, but seminars start in week 2. So you don't need to come see me on Wednesday next week. You'll see me the following Wednesday. Just note that. So a lot of topics are like that. So do make sure you are checking your timetable. I think you can check week by week, can't you?
Check week by week, and it will reset to show you. Yeah, seminars and workshops typically don't ever run first week of semester, just because it's usually an introductory class anyway, and there's no point doing a seminar. It's very little content, but yeah, they typically start week 2. But yeah.
Aside from Mary's, because I think events and tourism events portfolio, they are technically seminars, aren't they?
Yeah. So
That's from week 1.
week 1 next week.
So just bear that in mind. So again, it's really about trying to get to know people in the room. So week 1, where you are, getting to know that. Week 2, hopefully you'll start some more of those conversations once you're in seminars and those sorts of things. Although we will do a bit of that in week 1 anyway in the lecture. Because we're only a small group, so why not? And yeah, just trying to get to know what is around. Again, we're not expecting you to know everything straight away, but just kind of, there'll be reminders through Connect Week in week 1, but also week 2, there'll be lots of different slides that are shared through lecturers or maybe on Flow about some of those supporting services as well. So week 3. So week 3, we start to get a little bit more real in terms of expecting you to kind of start working on assessments. So this is where you're going to have to start, making sure you're keeping up with those readings. Ask us if you've got questions or if you don't know how to find something or anything like that. There is another Flow page which is called Finding Your Way at Flinders, which is a university-wide site. Again, you should have access to that automatically. But again, if you don't, you can find it through Compass or various other methods as well. I think it's even on the orientation website as well, so you can find it from there. And that's kind of some good sort of background information for anyone who's new. Okay, so week 4, as I said, is Success Week. So there will be some events to get involved with there. Things that are run by the Student Learning Support Service, for example. Get familiar with some of the university policies. I mean, you don't have to read them in any depth. Even I don't do that. But just to kind of have an idea of some of the really quite integral things like academic integrity, which coincidentally I think I'll be talking to you about that in week 3 or 4 in Marianne's topic anyway. But get to know what late penalties are for submitting an assessment late, or how to ask for an extension request. So again, these are the sort of things we'll start to unpack in the portfolio topic. But again, it's a matter of not stressing yourself out. Take time. Don't stress too much about it. We'll cover it. If we haven't covered it, ask us. It's a learning process. Yeah. So don't worry. So in terms of talking about some of the help that's available and out there, there's quite a lot in this university. So for instance, I can start by talking about the health, counselling and disability services, because there is quite a lot that you can access through these guys. So they are kind of one department of themselves, but they cover a lot of different areas. So for example, you can see a doctor or a nurse on campus. You can talk to a disability advisor. Now I know sometimes people are a bit uncomfortable when it comes to the word disability and what that actually entails. So it's basically anyone that has any impairment that's going to interrupt with their studies. So it could be a physical disability, any sort of mental health, what else? Neurodivergent, all sorts of different things. It covers even carers. If you're a carer for someone, again, think about talking to our disability services team, because what they can do is create what's called an access plan. And this access plan, it suggests a number of reasonable adjustments. And these get sent to topic coordinators. So they'll create an access plan for you to send to your topic coordinators. It doesn't tell us anything about what's going on with you, because we don't need to know that. All we need to know is how we need to adjust things to help you. So just bear that in mind if that's something you need to seek. They're really good at that. I think they've got a much bigger team now than they did last year, so we're looking at only a couple of days sort of turnover to get in to see one of these guys. You can also access counselling, so you can get up to 6 free sessions a year to go and speak to a counsellor. They can be a bit busy, but of course there are also provisions if you do need sort of immediate assistance as well. Now another section of our university that often gets missed, I think, a little bit is called Oasis. You're like, never been there?
I know where it is now.
Yeah, it's a little bit hidden away. So if you're kind of walking from the hub through to the Humanities building and continue down the laneway by the coffee shop, continue on the laneway, it's just there in front of you, so you have to cross the road to it. So it is a bit sort of tucked away, but then you sort of walk down the stairs and there's this lovely kind of open space there. And it is quite a lovely space, and they do lots of different things. They've got a community market where they have free or very cheap kind of things you can purchase. They have conversation groups. They do a lot of mental health kind of and fitness kind of sessions in that sort of space as well. A bit of yoga. Forest walks also go from there as well, so down into like the gorge area. If you don't want to just walk by yourself, I'm kind of scared of snakes. I would always want to walk with other people and make sure they're ahead of me, just in case. So they offer quite a few different things, and in fact I do have a few handouts of some of these sessions that they run. So some of the ones that are up on the screen there. Oh, I've got 4 copies, not 5. Fight over it, no, kidding. But there's lots of information that you can gain from them. Again, really sort of helpful things. Right, and I thought I might have gone on too much. And there is also the International Support Service. So again, they do a whole range of different activities, gatherings that assist our international students that are coming here. So again, helping to assimilate onto our campus and into our environment. And I think I'm getting there. So again, Oasis, they do a lot of these extra activities, like they have equal opportunity advisors. But more broadly across the university, we have a Pride network. We've got lots of different associations and clubs, again, that kind of support us in various different ways. Okay. Scholarships. So again, there is options. Even the Flinders University Students Association has its own kind of financial advice sort of section. So if, definitely at this point in time when people are sort of struggling with cost of living, there are options to talk to people and sort of help in that sort of way. So if you want to have a look, there are options for scholarships as well. And of course, very importantly, we do care about your safety on campus. We do have equal opportunity advisors. We do have security on campus. You might have seen them down by the hub area. They have their own little office down by the stairs that leads up to the humanities building. You can also use them if you're finishing class quite late or it's getting dark, so good for winter time, and they can help escort you to your cars as well. Or public transport.
Girls, yeah, if you
Yeah.
are late, maybe you studied in the library, you park in book, and you feel not safe going by yourself, give them a ring and we'll let you go.
So just quickly around Connect Week. So I know this week's our week and it's a lot to take in. Next week is Connect Week, where we'll have a whole bunch of activities. And just to kind of highlight some of those, there'll still be the Welcome Hub down in the main sort of hub building. So if you do have, again, any emerging sort of questions, you can go there. There'll be a quiz night, comedy show. There's a whole bunch of things that FUSA have put together, which is Flinders University Students Association. So lots of different things to kind of engage with. So make the most of the first week when things are not so serious just yet. Take the chance to kind of engage in some of those activities. Go speak to some of the clubs and associations and stuff like that. So key dates. So obviously next week we're starting classes. The following week, that week as well, we've got Connect Week. The following week is week 2. At the end of that week is the last chance to enrol. So if you haven't enrolled already, make sure you do it by the end of next week, end of week 2, by definite. And then census date is what we call kind of the chance to unenroll from topics without having to pay fees. So if you are kind of thinking, oh, maybe 4 topics is a bit much for me to do in a semester, you might want to withdraw from one topic, for example, and that kind of just lightens the load a bit. So just bear that in mind, that is an option. You don't have to do exactly, the 4 things that we say. You'll get to them in time. Not everyone, again, has got the same sort of time to be able to do all these things. So think about yourself and kind of what works for you. Yeah. And then of course we've got last day to withdraw without failure as well. So at that point you are kind of paying fees, but you're not going to be marked as a fail. But let's not think too much about that. Let's think in the positive side of things. So just a kind of few last minute things just to point out. There are lots of different ways to stay connected with the university. So there is a e-newsletter that gets sent around called Ping. You'll see it, I think, once a week. Yeah, once a week. So have a look. It kind of updates you on anything that's happening on campus, things you might want to check out. So that will be emailed to you. There are also different social media platforms that can be used to keep up with what's going on. Hey Flinders is the general one for Flinders University. There is also FUSA. FUSA have their own social media, Instagram page, and so do FUSA clubs. And in fact, FUSA clubs, I noticed yesterday, were posting a competition that you could win $100 of flight vouchers. So check that one out. I almost wanted to do it myself. I know I won't. And of course, there's the unofficial.
The unofficial
kind of
ones, which
well.
are still run by admin people. Like it's called Overheard at Flinders. It's on Facebook. I recommend joining it. It's where people just put general questions if they've got like rental things and rooms, questions about textbooks, where do they get it. Snake sightings is also kind of become a popular one over summer.
Or sometimes koala.
And koala in the rain. That was in the schoolyard.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a thought just to check in every now and again. You might be able to help someone else out. It's just a general questions one, but I do recommend joining that one. That's funny too, so stuff like us.
Yes. I must admit, I check sometimes. I'm like, is that accurate information? Oh yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
So it's a good one to have a look for. So yeah, have a look at some of those. Sign up to them because it's nice just knowing sometimes what's happening. I find particularly the FUSA one is good for knowing what's going down in the hub as well. All right, any questions? I know that was like a lot, but again,